What if I were to tell you that when it comes to mini painting, you're not supposed to be good at it? You're not supposed to be good at this means that you're supposed to start somewhere.
I started painting because I couldn't help myself.
I started as a child.
I started painting miniatures in late 2023.
26 years ago.
Since I was about 9 years old.
So I started painting in the 80s. Oh, how old am I?
I started painting during COVID when I was 12 years old.
When I was, I think, 11.
During the pandemic.
I started wargaming at 7.
Since I was 10.
10 years old?
For 37 years now.
I've only been painting for a couple of months.
For about 4 years.
I've been painting models for about 3 years now. And in that time I've painted well and truly over 80 models.
How many models I've painted is a difficult question to answer.
In the thousands.
So I painted literally thousands of miniatures.
About a dozen.
More than a dozen.
Thousands.
Thousands and thousands.
Between 800 and 1,000.
250 miniatures.
200, I guess.
With almost 250 models to my name.
A lot of models.
800.
Probably around 500 to 600.
In the region of thousands.
I've got about almost 300 miles under my belt by this point.
Hundreds, upwards of 500-600.
3,500 to 4,000 miniatures.
Oof, I actually thought about this at home, and I think it's probably between 300 to 500 models.
You're not supposed to be good at this means to address a quiet but pervasive problem in the hobby space, and that's intimidation through comparison. The only thing that you can compare yourself to, as the great Uncle Adam has always said, is the last miniature that you painted.
Now, introductions first.
So my name is Erasmus. I work in sales as an account manager. So technically I started when I was 10, 12 years old, going to my local gaming store with one of my friends, just painting a couple of Tyranid models. Those are lost to time, unfortunately. I'm sure they were very, very pretty.
I started painting because as a child in the late 80s, I got the board game Hero Quest.
Once you get into it, you'll never be the same.
And I finally wanted to paint the miniatures that come with the board game.
Sitting in my room as a child, and the lighting was so bad that I couldn't see the difference between the orc trousers and the skin and what to put where. But then as a grown-up, and it was COVID and I wanted to try again. I think 4 months after I started painting, I was actually hired here as a graphic designer.
I've been painting miniatures off and on since my teens, but I've recently got back into it in the last 2 or 3 years. Mostly because I had long COVID and I needed to do something that was a sit-down hobby that enabled me to work on my attention span, my concentration and my focus.
I started painting scale models.
By chance I discovered getting into 40k pamphlet from 3rd edition 40k, which was like a revelation with the John Blanche cover.
So my name is Lasse, and I am the one editing this video. So I think pretty quickly I started attending painting nights at a local hobby store because my cousin did. And a lot of those people that I painted with way back then are some of my best friends today.
I was by accident walking by a hobby store with miniatures in the window, and as everybody else would have done, same people, I went in and I was taught painting by myself, which was a disaster.
I started putting paint on minis a little short of 30 years ago, when very young me was given Warhammer 2nd edition as a birthday present. Yeah, I set about slapping far too much paint on the minis, resulting in a horrible mess. Definitely the phrase thin your paints had not reached me.
My cousins Alex and Jason, I was visiting them in upstate New York. We were reading The Lord of the Rings. We had stumbled into a game store, it might have even been a Warhammer store, walking up to this big glass window and seeing the Empire of Man and then Wood Elves and Orcs and Bretonnians, and it was just like, it really just kind of fell in love with it from there.
I started painting kinda sorta by mistake. So I was an Aussie kid. My mom used to get me magazines. for reading and spending times, and I happened to stumble on a wargaming magazine.
My father was into scale modeling, and I thought it was a bit uninteresting, so I went into fantasy, which I have painted more or less since. There were some dark times in my teenage years, but when I gained my reason in my 20s, I went back and did it more seriously.
I started painting back when I was a young lad. My father had got me some airplane models and I was able to build like an F-35 and some rockets and that kind of mess, and eventually transitioning into Warhammer in high school was kind of a foregone conclusion.
It started because my partner at the time, her dad played war games and with miniature models and painting and whatnot. And so I wanted to have something to get along with him, something to connect with him a bit better.
And so I was attracted to the IP and the artwork of people like John Blanche and Jez Goodwin and things like that. And I picked up some models one Saturday afternoon, and I've run with it ever since.
Hello, my fellow hobbyists. My name's Thomas, but you could call me T-Max since we're friends. I got into the hobby in 2021 with my wife, Dr. M, who might be more of a book girly, but we wanted to have something that we could do together, which is what led into miniature painting and really enjoying this hobby that we both share.
I got into painting because a friend of mine did during the pandemic, and I had waited for a while. Like, I knew about the hobby, my partner had been into it, my partner at the time, but I thought it would be intimidating. I thought surely painting something that small is going to be stressful. And instead I found the opposite. I found that it's very mindful, it's relaxing.
I wandered into my local games workshop, which was in our mall at the time. I was there with my friend, and I remember on the drive home, I told him I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna buy some stuff. This looks really cool, I'm gonna do it. And he said, no, you're not, you're probably not gonna do that. I'm like, yeah, you're right, I'm probably not going to. And now 26 years later, and I do this for a living, so guess I was right.
These are the first 4 models I ever painted. I started painting in the middle of 2024. I didn't do too much more painting, but then in 2025, it really took off. The most interesting thing I think about my story is that in 2025, when I really started to become hardcore in the painting hobby, is that was also the year I turned 70 years old, and I'm just having a blast.
I'm a guy with a lot of energy, but being able to focus on a miniature and just forget everything around me was something I haven't done in any hobby or anything I've done before. So I think I kept painting because, as I said, I just couldn't help it. I loved being in that little zone where nothing else matters. And I wasn't saving the world, I wasn't helping anyone, I was only doing it for me. And I think that's what painting really is, and still is today. It's me time, and that's what I love about it.
Actually, from the very beginning, the social aspect of hanging out with a couple of my very best friends at the time, just doing the same stuff that they did, was kind of what kept me going at it. And I stuck with it, even though I had a few years where partying and girls became a bit more interesting. But I found out that models were way cooler than that, so I came back and painted miniatures.
Definitely being at the Army Painter made it stick because you're in an environment where you get to talk about it a lot.
The reason I still paint now is it's not just a good way to pass the time, or it's therapeutic and a good way to wind down and enjoy yourself. And not just because I'm a creative person and I like to create things, but simply I now do commission work and I'm looking to do that full time.
And so there's always something new to find out about and to enjoy. And lots of companies are always bringing out new models. And that's what I love. And I think it's safe to say this is my one big hobby.
Just painting stuff has been a really nice way to spend an evening without my phone. My wife loves paint by numbers kits. So she's been painting flowers of an evening. I've been painting drow.
It gives me something to look forward to. It lets me kind of tell stories, which is really fun. I can just kind of shut off my brain a bit and put color on stuff.
I think for me it was a question of a connector. I really believe in bridges to your friends, so you have a common interest or something that demands that you meet, so to speak. So you have something that you can all gather around. And for me, I moved away from my birthplace and all my old friends around 2020. I moved to university to go study in another part of the country. Two of my friends said, "Hey Rasmus, do you want to do Warhammer?" Like, I've just moved out, I'm broke, I'm a student, but something in me was like, I think I should do this because it's really cool and I want something that connects me to back home. And we started that, and to this day it is now my biggest connector for my friends. I think I went into the hobby with I'm doing this to be with my friends, and then I got a lot of respect for the hobby and enjoyment out of it afterwards. So I don't think even if all my friends quit tomorrow, I would stay.
It's been particularly helpful for me. I have suffered a bit with anxiety in recent years as well. And so painting is a way that I can really focus on the things that are in front of me, doing something with my hands that kind of makes time fly past and forget about what's going on in the wider world. So it's a great way of kind of reaching a little bit in the relaxation and zen for me.
When I sit down at my paint desk, the world falls away and I lose track of time sometimes to my detriment, because I'm like, oh, I probably had other things to do.
I love the creative process of it. I love seeing a model go from bare plastic to what I have envisioned in my head.
I've continued to paint, and now it's kind of the core of my hobby. I find painting very relaxing. It's how I unwind.
I've carried on with it because I actually really enjoy it. I don't pretend to be any good at it. I don't pretend that I'm ever going to win any awards for it.
I continued painting because I found joy in this hobby and relaxation and focus.
Especially when I was younger, I always kind of felt like I was a creative, but with no real talent in being creative. I certainly didn't know which way to go, you know, like I wasn't really an artist, and I did okay in sort of acting and drama at school, but nothing ever really kind of took off for me. But I felt like I was pretty good at painting miniatures, certainly compared to the friends that were around me of that age. And it gave me a creative output, and that really helped, I know, level me a bit as a kid. I think I was a pretty emotional child, and painting miniatures gave me something to focus on, you know. Like I can highlight now as an adult, like, you know, the similarities to mindfulness. But as a kid, I wasn't that self-aware, but I knew that it helped me having a creative output. And I stuck with that, stuck with painting miniatures all the way up to my early 20s. Took a short break from hobby stuff while life went the way life often goes. And then when I was around 30, so 13, 14 years ago now, I picked up a paintbrush again, and I've not been able to put it back down.
As our community grows and expands and we bring more people to it, which is the most exciting thing for me, the last thing I want is for people to jump into miniature painting Instagram or TikTok and see miniatures that they feel like they'll never be able to paint, because the reality is you're not supposed to. Not at first. Remember, you're not supposed to be good at this. Use the amazing art that you see on the pages and in the showroom halls and the competition corridors to inspire you, not to intimidate you.